Hey y'all, it's JJ with Baby Girl Crafting. Today we're going to make these absolutely adorable sock snowmen. So let's see how they're done. Hey peeps, it's JJ with Baby Girl Crafting. I'm going to show you how to make snowmen. These are made out of Dollar Tree socks with a few little embellishments. So let me show you what we need to get started with this project. For this project, to get us started, we're going to need some rice. I am using long grain. Basically, it was the cheapest. So we're going to need some rice. Then we are going to need some socks. I picked these socks up at the Dollar Tree. I'm trying two different kinds. This is the athletic socks, right there. And these are the full cushion women's socks. Now I want to make some bigger snowman, so I got the big adult size socks. Put those off to the side. Then we also want to use some these Snuggie socks. And these are actually, this one right here is a crew sock. I've never used it with the crew socks, but I like the pattern, so I'm going to try it with this as well. But then these Snuggies fit really well, and those will be really good for the hats that we're going to be making. So there's those. Then we also want these little hairbands. Again, I got these at the Dollar Tree. But then I also like to use like embroidery floss or string, not thread. It's got to have some substance to it. So those are the things we need. Then you'll want some scissors, some buttons. We got these at Michael's last year. These are black buttons. Probably going to use the smaller ones, not these big ones, but I haven't opened the pack yet, so. But there's other, you can use other types of buttons for embellishments. These are ones I'm going to use. I'm probably going to use some of these blue ones. I just kind of raided my stash. I have some others that I got at the Dollar Tree. So, show you some of these. Those ones I may use. Oops. There's some blue ones in here that I plan on using. Very likely. So these are like flowers. I'm planning on using maybe those. And maybe those. We'll see. Again, I just kind of raided my stash, and so that's all you have to do. Those are embellishments. You're going to want some glue. I've got Fabric Fusion. That is Eileen's Fabric Fusion. You're also going to want a glue gun, possibly. I'm not a big fan of the glue guns. And actually, I loaned this one out, and it came back very icky, so I want to clean that up. I like this stuff better, but it takes a lot longer to dry. So for the video purposes, I will probably be using my glue gun. And then you need something for a nose. And there's some options. You could use like foam and cut it into a triangle shape. But I am actually just going to use some Craft Smart paint and paint it on there because that's what I have. So I have a little dish for my paint and a paintbrush. And that's what we're going to need to get started. Oh wait, one more thing. Okay, then we're also possibly going to want some ribbon for a scarf. Kind of depends. Again, embellishments are kind of what you decide to go with. But that's what I've pulled out to get started on this project. So let me clear this away and we'll get started. So I have made a couple of these. I haven't decorated them yet using the different types of socks. This is made with the thicker sock, the women's sports weight, and I don't like it as much as the weave on the thinner one. So we're going to make it with the thinner one today. And what we do is we open up the sock, and there's kind of a fold, and basically right along the middle of the heel, and we're just going to cut on that. And we're going to save this part of the sock for another project. So this is what we're going to be using, and I just use a cup to hold my sock, so I put it in right side in so that I can dump rice into the inside. We'll see if I have enough rice left. This might be a skinny snowman. Alright, so I fill it full. I usually do this twice. I take it off the first time and just kind of bounce it so you can see. We're going to bounce it a little loose because it's going to be a smaller snowman. They stretch quite a bit. Now you take your elastic that I showed you that you needed. Just a little elastic. And this is for a temporary hold. Because elastics don't last as long as other, like, we're going to use thread. But it's easier for me to hold this in place and tie knots without having to try and hold the fabric as well. Then we take a piece of string, which I'm using embroidery floss. And the first thing I do is I tie it around, and I don't do an actual knot, I just pull it really tight, and then I turn it 180 degrees, and that's where I'm going to tie my first knot. So we tie that knot. I'm going to move this out of the frame. Then I'm going to turn it 180 degrees again and tie a knot. This is to prevent the rice from coming out the top. So we want that as tight as possible. And you can tie as many knots as you want. Lots of times I go till I'm out of string. But we'll just do it one more time, which is probably about what I need. Or that's probably about all I have left. Then you can snip off the ends or not. I am. Now because this is going to be smaller than my other snowman, I don't need this much left over. When I did it before, I used that's what was left over, and I haven't clipped that. But since we're making what I'm going to call a baby snowman, I don't need this much on top. So we'll take that off. Alright, so now we have this. So to make a snowman, we want to give some definition right here. And in order for it to hold its shape, we need to put something around here. So the first thing we're going to do is use another elastic. Now the nice thing about the elastic is I can get it where I want it. Before I put, and then I'm going to tie thread around it too. So I just kind of decide where I want the front. This kind of sticking out. So that looks about good, kind of flatten it. And then I'm going to take a string and I'm going to do kind of the same thing I did before. But where I've chosen it to be the front, I'm going to wrap it, and then in the back is where I'm going to tie the knot. And this isn't to keep rice in, this is just to hold shape, so you don't need to pull it really tight. You just want it to be able to, the snowman, to keep its shape. And so one knot is plenty. Unless you want to do more, you're welcome to do more. So now we have our snowman, and he's going to stay a snowman. So, good to go. And like I said, I've done these other two. I haven't decorated them yet, but we're going to do that now. These are our sock options, and I think we're going to do one with that color. I want to try this sock because I haven't used it before. And should we do pink? Let's try pink. I'm just taking the socks apart. We only need one, so you can set the other one off to the side. And we're going to go ahead and cut right there at that heel again. Probably should cut above the heel. Just a little bit above the heel. And this is going to go on the back side of our little guy. I was going to cut it a little short because he's small. But I think he'll still fit. And these stretch. big time. So if you're going to make the little ones, I would suggest using the little kid socks. He was originally going to be much bigger. And his hat's going to cover that, so that works. Actually looks kind of cute. Now to make his hat, we use this part. And you can mix and match. I could use this hat. Or actually, that's kind of the same color scheme, so I think I'm going to switch and use this. Alright, so we want to use the toe, and he's kind of a short guy, so we're just going to cut it a little bit shorter. Normally I'd cut it here. You see that? But he's got such a small tiny head. And we're just rolling it up to give it a little bit of a cuff. He's going to have this little white thing on the top. Alright, then we kind of fix his hat. And these socks shed big time when you cut them, so you have to be kind of careful. Well, or be prepared for it. Play with him. Alright, so that's what we've got so far. Now, if we want to make a scarf, we're going to go ahead and we'll just go ahead and use some more of the sock. It kind of depends on how long you want his scarf to be, but our guy is tiny, so we're cutting off just a section and then we're going to snip it. So now we have this, and we can wrap this around him and just tie a little knot. Now we have a little scarf, and that'll hang down as soon as I stand him up. See, so now he has a little scarf, matches his little hat. Yay. So this fella needs a face. To do that, we're going to pull out our buttons. I found two little black buttons that I like, and I'm going to be using my glue gun to put these on. I'm going to put the glue on here because these buttons are so small I don't want to burn myself. There's that one. This is where the snowman gets his character, because the eyes will be in different spots and you gotta get his little nose. For the nose I'm going to be using this orange Craft Smart paint. And I'm going to put it in a container. Obviously you're not going to need very much. Have this little paintbrush. And we're going to paint a little triangle. I kind of outline it first. And then I want it to have some texture, so I am dabbing it on. Just to make sure it's got full coverage. Now there are other things you can use other than paint. You could use a marker. I've seen people who have used toothpicks and painted it orange. I have seen people who've used craft foam. But this is how I like to do it. And so then he is technically done. But if you want to make sure he stays, or all his items stay on, which I do, then you can put a little bit of hot glue up in here. So like there. And it's not going to take a lot. But I don't really want things riding up on the poor guy and moving around. I'm going to stand him up, and I'm going to glue his brim as well. You guys should be fascinated. I don't use my glue gun very often. In fact, the reason my glue guns are so used at the moment and I need to clean them is because I loaned them out. But this is just a fast way to get this done. I'm going to turn him on his... I got to be careful because the paint isn't dry. We'll see if it gets on my mat. I'm going to pull his hat up a little bit, pull this down. And then let's fix his hat before I glue it, make sure it looks all pretty. And that's where we want it. We're going to put just a little bit more right here. And right here. And you can glue it down here too if you want, but that's usually not too much of a problem. Alright, so technically our little guy is done. But there are things you can do to the hat. If you wanted, you could put a pom-pom. I do not have any pom-poms with me right now, but what I do have is these flower buttons. We are going to go ahead and put a pink flower button on his hat. And there we go. So that's what we have so far. So I'm going to go ahead and do one of my big ones. I thought you guys might want to see what it looks like to do one of the big ones. And we're going to be using this right here. So we're cutting it at the heel, like that. And we're going to go ahead and use this as well. I like having contrasting or different a hat that where the hat doesn't match the little outfit they're wearing. And you can do this without putting an outfit on them and they'd just be white. I just think it's cute. So I think we're going to make this the outfit and that the hat. And I just measured it down so that I knew how much to put on there. Make it just a little bit longer. Since this is something a little bit different. But I love this cuff. It'll make a cute little neck. I'm going to bring that right up to the neck. I could have made that just a little bit bigger, but he's good. And now I'm going to use this as the hat, but I'm also going to use it as the scarf, so I'm going to cut just a little bit off to make my scarf. Sorry, there was a little fuzzy on it. And this, we'll stand him up for this. Goes towards the back. And then I want to give him a little brim. We can pull that down. And I keep the little tuft up there that's on top of the I'll show you, I keep this here because it gives some form to the hat when you're putting the hat on. Poor guy doesn't have a face now. We'll fix that. I don't like the way that's cut. Most of that gets hidden, but I just didn't like the way it was folding. So you kind of make these your own. So there he is. And I'm going to go ahead and glue that stuff down right now, so I don't have to do it while his nose is wet. And this doesn't really need it at all, but because this fits really, really nice on him. But better safe than sorry. I do not know where that's coming from. I have a little glass tray off to the side that I keep my glue gun on. Okay, that's still hot. Let that cool so it will form. Just dabbing glue where it might need it so that it stays in place. I think I glued up there. The light blue hat is very, very shiny. It's got sparklies on it. I don't know if you can see the sparklies. Oh, it's really cute. Can I do that? Yeah. Okay, so he is good and ready for a face. I'm going to go into the buttons again. I really like these ones. They actually are more like a gem than a button, and they stand out. So it looks like coal. So I'm happy with that. Put some glue there. When you're using a glue gun, make sure you're careful. It can get hot and you can burn yourself. And now we're going to do our nose. And I do it just a little. I come over towards this eyeball just a little bit. It's not quite in the center. And I would center it like that even if I wasn't just painting it. Bring it over just a little bit so it doesn't look completely off center. And that's our trash. And our trash. Okay, so we're going to put our scarf on. I'm going to stand him up for this. I think we're going to put his scarf on this other side. So if you stretch this and pull on it just a little bit, it kind of keeps its shape longer. And I don't know if you can see all the fuzzies all over my workspace, but they are all over. But when we're done, we'll clean it up. Cleans up easy. So there is his little scarf. And I am actually going to go ahead, and I think we're going to stick with pink. And I'm actually going to put a pink button here on his scarf, as well as on his hat. Okay, so I'm putting the glue, and I'm going to stick that right there. Oops. Now, do I want to put this here or off to the other side? I think we're going to put it on that side. I'm not sure I like it up that far. Let's see if we can get it down a little bit. There we go. And there's Snowman number 2. Snowman number 3. I think we are going to go ahead and use this for Snowman number 3's body, but we are going to cut it right here. And we are going to use this part around the neck. It's like getting a baby dressed. Not exactly, but okay, so there we go with that. And I think we will go ahead and use this for the hat. And again, we're going to just make a cut. I mean, this is like a 1/2 inch is all I'm using for the scarves. And you can use ribbon for the scarf as well. There's lots of things you can use if you want to put a scarf on. This just happens to be what I have right here. I actually like using this because it gives them like a fuzzy, warm scarf. And I really do not like how this cut down here, so we're going to trim it. Okay, much better. Just kind of go around and even out your brim. Pull it down just a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue. And when I put the scarf on, you could actually glue the scarf in a particular spot if you want it to be in a particular spot. I like mine kind of free flowing, so I don't usually glue it down. Unless it's not working for me, and then I do. Alright, so we got that done. Let's turn this... Oh wait, I forgot to do the cuff. The cuff, I find, will, if anything, I glue the cuff because it will come up unrolled. Especially if people are handling it. These make such great gifts. In fact, that's what I'm making them for. I'm giving these. My sister is into snowmen, and I'm giving these to her. Or at least a couple of them. This is part of her Christmas present. Which is why I'm making sure they're glued down, because these guys have to travel with me all the way to Texas. And I did that and I forgot to glue this down. There we go. Okay. We'll just glue back here a little bit. So there we go. And let's see. Yeah, I think there's a lot of blue right there. I want that in the back, so we're going to cut it on this side. We'll go ahead and tie this on before I do the face. And I don't really pull the ends right here, so they stay kind of bulky. This piece was really, really linty or fluffy. It has a lot of fluffs off of it. Tie this bad boy on. And I think we're going to do it on that same side. It's not quite even. So right now I'm just tying a knot in the piece of the sock that I'm making the scarf. You can see it just kind of lays there. I really like how it does that. Let's get this over here. And we need some eyes. I don't know, I'm looking to see if I should give her some different kind of eyes. Yeah, maybe I'll give her different eyes. These are actually just really tiny buttons. The others were more of a gem. These are actually buttons. Alright. Get some of these fuzzies off of here. Don't want them getting in the paint. I already had one go in the paint. So we'll paint that nose on. I'm thinking we should give her buttons too. Oh, cool. I'm thinking white buttons. Let's see how white buttons look. We'll do the same pattern where we put one right there on the scarf and one up on her hat. So again, just using the glue gun, put some glue on the button, staying away from my fingers. And we're gonna let that go down. Okay, I like that. When it comes to embellishments, there are so many embellishments you can use. I mean, the sky's the limit, whatever your creativity determines. These are just some really simple ones to give you an idea of how to do them. She really needs something around her. That's just kind of boring. I found my ribbon and I think I'm going to go ahead and give a little bit of a ribbon trim. Yeah, down here. I'm just going to glue it on. My glue is a little hot. This would have probably been better with a low temp gun. Well, this is a little high, but I have it on high at the moment. Just because it's faster. Alright. Now I'm going to snip it. Okay. Now she has a little bit of something else. So we have our little snowman family, I guess. I hope you have a great weekend and have fun making these for the holidays. Until next time, later peeps!